Okay. Thank you. Good morning. Welcome to Pilates, stroke pileability, a little bit of everything today. So we're going to start on the floor. We're going to start with belly breath. Have your band close by because we're going to stay on the floor for a while and we'll come up to standing after a little while. So I want you to lie out. Take your feet long, legs long, and wiggle jiggle your hips so you feel evenness on the floor. And then I want you to walk your heels down and away from your body. And it might be just that you lift and wiggle. If that's too uncomfortable, you can bend your knees. Whatever suits you. Sometimes it's nice to pop your knees together with your heels apart. But we're coming into what I want to do is a full body stretch. So if you can take your feet away, long, arms overhead, just close your eyes. Send your arms over. Try to wiggle those shoulder blades down. And just take your time doing this because I want you to be able to relax those arms above you and trying to get the elbows, the top of the arms onto the floor. And if you can, the whole arm, so the backs of your palms, the backs of your hands are resting on the floor. If not, you can have a cushion behind you and just melt. So take all the tension away from your shoulder blades because what happens if your arms won't quite go there, then it can cause tension in your shoulders, in your shoulder blades. So if that's too uncomfortable, you can always bring your elbows down a little bit. And then take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. And with your arms overhead, you can really feel that movement into the ribs. And you can feel the ribs expanding and coming back to their normal position. And then just send the breath into the belly. Make sure your toes are turned out. And you can take your feet a bit wider if it helps. And just stay with this breath. Just focus on your breath. Ignore any sounds around you. Getting a nice stretch into the ribs, up through the armpits. And just breathe. And then let it go. And on the next couple of breaths, just take another couple of seconds to breathe out all the way. And then on the next breath out, just take that pause before you take your next breath in. Okay, so we're going to bring our feet together and relax your feet off. We're going to come into a little bit of flossing, not too much, but just a little bit. So we're going to bring our arms overhead onto the floor. As our arms come up, you lift the head and then point the toes. Reach down towards the toes, just a little bit, so your shoulders come off, but not too far. Then we relax the toes, bring the toes up, send the head down, arms come over, thumbs touch the floor if you can behind you overhead. And take a breath. And just take another couple of breaths if you need to. Then we go again. We breathe out, arms come over, head lifts, point the toes. Breathe out. Take a breath in. As we breathe out again, toes lift, head drops, arms come over, and continue. So I won't direct you, you just do it in your own time. So a bit of a neck pull. You can take a breath in between, or you can just keep going. So not straight into kind of dynamic movements. So that's why I said if you want to take that breath in between, you can. So lovely. On the next one, we're going to keep the hands in front of you. We're going to turn the palms down towards the floor, and we're just going to send the one hand down towards the side. So the thumb brushes the side of the thigh, come back to centre, thumbs brush the other side, so your shoulders or your head is off the floor. The top of your shoulders are off the floor. Just a little lateral lean, working into the ribs, into the waist. Getting some movement. Keep breathing. And then relax the head down. Bend the knees, feet onto the floor, arms come out to the side. And then just take a moment to send the head to one side. So chin towards the shoulder, and just relax the head there. Just stretching through the neck. Trying to get that nose a little bit closer to the floor if you can. So stretching out. And then come to centre. Just lift the chin. And centre. And then to the other side. So sending that nose towards the floor, chin towards the shoulder, arms are out wide, just stretching through the side of the neck. And then bring that head to centre. Let's just lift the chin again. And centre. Okay, we're going to bring the feet and knees together, still with your feet flat on the floor, arms stay wide, and we're going to drop both the knees to one side and just allow them, take your time to drop them to one side. And then we're going to take the head to the opposite side. Feel that stretch into the ribs, into the waist and the top of the pelvis. And then we're going to take that top leg, keep the knees together, we're going to straighten off that top leg and try to take the leg closer to the floor, or just let it dangle. Mary, do what you need to do here. You can have a cushion in between your knees if you need to. Just a lovely stretch to start the morning. Really try and pin that shoulder to the floor. And then we bring the knees, feet together, come to centre, roll back onto your backs. And then we're going to adjust. And then we're going to send the knees to the other side. Just allow them to hang there before we take the head over. So pin the shoulders, feel that stretch into the lower back, and then we take the eye gaze to the other side. And just enjoy that stretch. And then we take that leg, extend the leg, send the leg away a little bit further, down towards the floor. Let the weight of your leg take it towards the floor. Feeling that stretch right the way up the side of the leg, into the back of the hip, into the pelvis. So just some really focused stretching here. The knees together, feet together, come back onto your back. We're going to hug knees into the chest. So take one knee and then the other. So 2 knees to start with. Just wiggle jiggle. And just hugging them in, stretching off the backs of the hips. Then we're going to take hold of the shin of one leg. So one knee hugs into the chest. We're going to straighten off the other leg, send it down to the floor, and hug that knee into the chest a little bit more. So you have a bit of a diagonal stretch there. And then allow the knee to come out a little bit. So opening out the hip with a stretch. Bringing the knee to the centre and then sliding that one to the floor. Swap sides, hug the other knee into the chest, extend through the other leg. Hug that knee in a little bit more. And then send that knee out a little bit. So you might feel that in the front of the hip with the leg that's on the floor. You might just feel that, especially if you send the toes out, point the toes a little bit. You might feel that diagonal stretch. Hug it into the centre. Bring the other foot to the floor. Drop the foot, so both feet are on the floor. Take your band and we're going to stretch hamstrings. So wrap that band around the foot. And we're going to start with the other knee bent. And I really want you to focus on a nice long leg. So if your knee's bent at all, you're not going to stretch your hamstring. So you might need to lower that leg right down so you get a straight leg. Find your position and then you can straighten off that other leg. And then as you breathe and as it gives way, you can kind of bring that leg a little bit closer to your body. And just breathe into that stretch. So just go within your own limitations. So just check, is your knee straight? Is your leg straight? If it's not, drop it down a little bit so you can get that leg extension. And sometimes it helps to just send that heel away. Send the heel, press that heel away. Keep that leg nice and still so we don't bounce anymore while we're stretching. Okay, let's take that leg out just a couple of inches, not too far. And use the band to just support that leg. And then again, if you can bring it closer to the body, even better. And then if you're able to, bring it to centre and then take it across midline. Unless you've had a hip surgery. If you've had hip surgery, sometimes taking it across, depending on where your surgery was, it's not good because it can add pressure to the back of the hip. So we just need to be careful. Then we're going to swap sides. Oops. So wrap it around the other foot. Start with your knee bent. And you know, both sides aren't the same. we normally just slightly different one side. So start with the knee bent and then straighten off that leg up above you. Make sure that leg is nice and long, and then you can slide the leg down and away. And then start to gently, gradually bring that leg towards you. And breathe into it. So if you want to bring it a bit closer, you can take a breath in. As you breathe away, you can bring it a bit closer. Just really taking your time. It's good to take time to stretch. I think we neglect this little area in our lives. But when we don't stretch and then you kind of have to do something, you think, wow, I've lost my flexibility, and you lose it so quickly, especially in hamstrings. And that's what we need when we need to bend down. All right, we're going to take the leg out a couple of inches. When we need to bend down, especially when you're going to start gardening and you're out and about, you find that flexibility goes in your hamstrings. You can't bend down so easily. Relax into it, bring it a bit closer to your body if you can. And then back to centre, and just across the midline, just literally an inch or two, not too far at all. Fabulous. Then back to centre. Okay, coming into butterfly. So take your band, double your band up and take it in your hands. Feet, soles of the feet come together and just allow the knees to drop out, and we won't be here long. I know it's not that comfortable for everybody. And we're just going to start taking the arms overhead, just adding a bit of tension on the band if you can, and just going as far as you can, bringing it overhead and down to your hips. And work within your capabilities, just over and down. And it might be that you can't get them both over, just go as far as you can. Okay, as the arms come over this time, bring the knees together. As that hands come down, separate the knees. Lovely, breathe. How do your shoulders feel? Oh, mine feels quite tight on one side. So I'll tell you what you can do is you can take the arms a bit wider. So make the band single, so don't double it up, which takes your arms wider, which can be easier if you have shoulder problems. And actually that's much easier. So do what you need to do to take your arms over. Okay, hands come down. Right, so we're going to stay on our backs. We're going to bend one knee, come into tabletop. Band comes over the shins. We're going to add a little bit of tension to the band. Knees over hips, so 90-90. We're going to lift the shoulders and we're going to come into 100 as we press away the band. You're going to resist with your shins, so I'll let you count. So it's sniff, 5 for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then blow. And you can't really turn your hands the other way, so just keep going. Pull that belly towards the floor, so your spine is on the floor. Don't let your knees come in. Keep them at 90, hips at 90. If your neck hurts, take your eye gaze to one side, then the other. Keep breathing, sniffing and blowing. Good for core, great for core. The sniffing might take your mind off it. When you're done, you can stop. breathe. Just take a moment. And we're going to roll onto our sides. So take a moment, just have your band nearby, but it's okay if it's not too close. I'm just going to adjust and then come onto your sides. Are we okay? Are we nice and stretched and chilled out? We're coming on our sides. So we're going to come into sunshine arms. So I think Helen did it with you last week. So on our sides, hips are stacked. Again, if you need a cushion or something between your knees, you can. Top hand is going to just come overhead, go as far as you can comfortably go to start with. We can make it bigger. Over and then back around. So you're drawing a circle, a semicircle over your head. So arm is extended. It goes right out and around. Can you bring it right back down to your bottom and over? So my hand is touching the floor the whole time. If you don't have that range of movement in your shoulder, then just draw a circle in the air. But it goes towards your back, to your bottom, and then back and around, up. So we're going overhead, down to your bottom. You stop there and come back and around over and allow your body to start to turn. So overhead, you come onto both your shoulders. Keep your knees together if you can. Hand comes to the bottom and then back up again. Up and around. So we've done quite a lot of shoulders already, so hopefully you should feel fairly mobile. Lovely. I quite like this move. It kind of stretches your shoulder blades into your armpits, gives you a nice little lower back stretch as well. Lovely. Okay, while we're here, hands come together in front and then just open book. So we're going to take the arm up, right in front of you. Hand comes over your body and then you still come over onto your back. Hand comes behind you onto the floor. So similar movement, but we're just over, bringing that arm over together. So hands meet. And then we roll back over, open. Lovely, and back over. Excellent, over, keep going. Excellent, and then we're going to come into clam. So hands stay in front of you. Bring your knees and hips to 90. And then feet stay together. Just lift the knees away from each other. So the only thing that moves is your top leg. Your hips don't move. You don't lean back. Your hands stay together. There's no movement. Your hands are like super glued together. So it's a small lift and lower. And you won't get very far if those hips stay stacked. A little lift and lower. Lift and lower. Excellent. Then we're going to lift the whole leg. So keep the knee bent and just lift, not too far, and lower down. So control that movement, control that lift. So lift just maybe 6 inches and lower slowly. Lift and lower. Good. And lift and lower. Okay, this time we're going to lift the heel up. So knees stay together. Then we lift the knee, toes touch, knees touch, lift the heel, back down. Mary, be careful with this one. So heel lifts, flex the foot, toes touch and the knees open. That's it. heel lifts, knees touch, back together, and again. So heel lift, so leg in the air, knees touch, heel up and down. Let's do one more time. Heel lift, toes together, knees together and down. Lovely. I've got to remember this when we go on the other side. Then we're just going to straighten the leg, so knees are level, straighten the leg, single leg circle, just in front of you, small, not too fast. Lovely. Fab. And then let's reverse direction. Oh, hate that, don't you? Drop that knee on the floor and give your hip a rub. And we're going to change sides. So, roly-poly, come over. Oh. So hopefully that side feels all nice, stretched and mobile. And we're going to try and do exactly the same on the other side. So onto our sides. Hands come together, knees are together, feet are together. And then we come into sunshine arms. So if you want a cushion under your head, you can. So again, start slow, small. Just go as far as you can. And take your time. Coming overhead. So remember to draw that circle on the floor. So the hand brushes the floor. And it comes behind you, down to your bottom, up and behind, back over. And you kind of have to rotate through the shoulder when you get to a certain point, don't you? Which is great for your shoulder. Great for that mobility. Keep going. And just notice the difference in your shoulders. Does one side feel more flexible than the other? Is it more mobile? Is one more painful? Are they both the same? Does it feel easier the more movements you do? And if you are going to be out and about in gardens and painting and all those kind of things we do, spring cleaning when the sun comes out and the nights are lighter, and then we say, oh, I'm really achy the next few days, then get some stretches in before and after. Keep going. Bring that shoulder to the floor. Eye gaze follows. It kind of goes over to the other side. Keep going. Lovely. And then we bring hands together. And then we open. So lift the arm. Start small. Take it overhead. Actually, that feels much more comfortable than taking it overhead. Some of you might feel the same, some of you might not like this at all. But really opening out through the chest. A little squeeze into the back of the shoulders. Arms over. And if you want to stay, sometimes it's nice to just stay in that open position. Just stretching through the front of the shoulder. That feels quite nice. And always just do what works for you. Lovely. Fab. And then let's come to the legs. So bringing those legs up in front of you. So 90-90 into clam. So lifting through the knees, feet stay together, hips stay really still. Okay, I can't stress that enough. If we were with you in class, we'd be pushing those hips forward. So have a check before you go in the next one. So are your knees together? Are they level? Okay, as you lift the knee, that comes away, and as you bring it back, it should stay level. And what I don't want these hips moving. Okay, so there's no movement through the hips, and it's really focused then through opening the hip, through the hip joint rather than the back. So it's, and you know, you might only get, I literally get an inch, 2 inches maybe max. So check your hips again, are they staying nice and still? Great. Okay, then we come to the whole leg. So whole leg lifts and lowers. It's still bent, your knee's still bent, but control that lift. And again, not really wide, not too wide. We want to keep the hips nice and still, the pelvis is still. Just a lift and a lower. Lift and lower. Keep going. Keep going. Okay, then we come into that heel lift. So let's lift the heel. And then we bring the toes together, knee lifts, heel lifts, knees together, bring the whole leg down. And again, so heel lift, toes point down, knee lift, toes together, knees together, heel lift and down. Now if you wanted to, you could actually lift the heel and then lift the knee and without the feet together, but I think it's better with the feet together. Knee down, heel lifts, relax, and again. Heel lift, knee lift, heel lift and down, and let's do one more. Heel and knee and heel and down. Then we're going to straighten off that leg. Lift the leg and a single leg circle, just small, slowly. The knee hovers over the other knee, so it's in front of you. Slowly, slowly. And then let's change direction. Fabulous. Good. Oh, nasty one, this one. And then let's drop that knee onto the floor and just give your hip a little rub and a bit of a whack. Right, we're coming on to all fours. Actually, let's come on to the belly first, because it's good to work through the hips. So onto the belly, just rest your head on your hands for now. And again, wiggle, jiggle, and turn your toes in just for a moment, and that just rests off your hips. Then we're going to just come on to the forearms, but head is neutral, so you're looking down at the floor, and we're just going to come into some glute squeezes. And it's really good to work on glutes. And how do we do that? Simple. So squeeze the bottom, legs are extended, and we're just going to lift one leg and lower. Stay on one side. So you're pressing down on the foot with the leg that isn't moving. The other leg, squeeze through the bottom, leg is long, and we lift. Now as we lift, we're keeping that leg long, and the way to do that is to focus on lifting the thigh. So imagine you're lifting the thigh towards the ceiling rather than the heel. So the whole back of the thigh is lifting, and then I want you to press the pelvis, your hip bones, into the floor. So it's a smooth lift and a lower. A lift. And if that's too much on your head or your neck, you can actually rest your head down on your hands. But I quite like just a small press into forearms. Okay, let's change legs. So wiggle again, just make sure you're central, and then we start to lift the other leg. So think about that thigh. I've got squeaky floor. Try not to hold your breath. So lift and squeeze. If that's too much, just a squeeze of the bottom. Just will engage the glutes. And then press both of those hip bones into the floor. So it's like a press down and a squeeze. Excellent. And then let's see if we can do both together. So press the hips down, squeeze, lift, lower, rest, hips, press into the floor, squeeze the bottom, lift the legs and lower. And again, squeeze and lower. Last one. Excellent. And then we're just going to walk the hands up and press onto your forearms. So just lifting through the front of the belly, the chest, pressing down through the ribs, pressing down through the arms, sorry, and just lifting the chin into some back extension, but not for long, and then come back down. We're going to sit back in child's pose. So take your time and just come into child's pose for me. Sometimes it's nice to separate the knees, feet together. And press those hands away. Press the bottom back and down. And hands press forwards. Almost like curling the bottom under. And then we come up onto all fours. Okay, so a little bit of wrist work, shoulder work. So hands come under shoulders. Pull the belly in. So pull the belly in towards the spine, but keep the bottom tucked under. Okay, and neck is nice and neutral. Then we're going to send the weight forwards into the wrists, and that kind of makes you bend your elbows a little bit. And then I want you to do a semicircle to one side. And then we're going to semicircle out and back to the front. So you'll draw in a semicircle with your chin around your hand on that side and come back to center. So I'm pulling back, I'm taking my weight around the outside of my hand, above and in front of it to center, and then up and around like sunshine arms, but we're on all fours. And you get a bit of a break in your wrists as you come backwards. So come back and around. So just one way, around one arm, one hand first. And you really feel it into the wrist as you send that weight forwards and around. And let's go around the edge again. One more time. Out, around, over, and back to center. Then we're going to semicircle around the other hand. So forwards, around, and again you can start small. Add in the weight, so pressing the weight into the heels of the hands. Sometimes it helps to lift up through the palm. So imagine you've got a piece of string through the center of your palm and you're pulling up through the palm, which means that you're pressing down on your fingers a bit more. Keep breathing. Around. Couple more, so around. Can you get that circle a little bit bigger, especially at the front? Can you go forwards a little bit more, out a little bit more, to centre? Last one, but we're not done. Right the way around the edge, and then we're going to figure of 8. So we're going to go up and around one side, make that a big movement, okay, round and into the centre and outside of the other arm. Figure of 8, so all the way around, wrist bone loading into the shoulders, pulling the belly in. Okay, remember which way you're going because we're going to reverse direction. So we're going to go around and, oh, can you reverse direction? Can we? Oh, I don't know. Try it. Let me know. Yes, we can. We can go that way and around. Stay with it. How are your wrists? Okay, sit back onto your heels. Or bend your hands. Oh, bend your wrists. Oh, give them a little. So pulling the fingers in towards your body can just stretch off the top. Oh, how's that? Are you all right? Good. You can certainly feel it, can't you, into the wrists. And then do a little circle round one way and then the other way. Excellent. We're going to come into thread the needle. So more work on the knees. If you want to come onto your fists, onto your hands, make fist and just settle the weight through the knuckles, and that can take the weight through the wrist, but it is really good to come into wrist flexion. Okay, so nice and strong shoulders. What do I mean by that? So when we're tired, we slump, so I want you to press those shoulders away. Think long spine, neutral spine. So pull the belly in, tuck the bottom under. Head is neutral, shoulders are pressed away, belly pulled in. Take one arm, slide it through and under, and then we come to drop that shoulder, or as far as you can comfortably go. If you can drop that shoulder, brilliant. You get a big stretch into the back of the shoulder. Then we press down on the wrist, lift the arm, come to centre, then we lift the elbow. If you can, take the arm up and out. If not, just lift the elbow. Eye gaze follows your elbow or your hand. Drop down, slide that hand through, bend the elbow, drop that shoulder down and press that hand through. Press down, lift. And in your own time, try to reach as far as you can. Keep breathing. Last one this side. And then let's change hands again. Reset, really important. Hands under shoulders, knees under hips. Reset the spine, belly pulled in, bottom tucked under. Spread the fingers out, weight through the, kind of press through the middle finger. And then we slide again, start small, or go straight into it. See how you feel. You can take a moment at the bottom of that move, reaching up, 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 and sliding through. You go in your own time. Big reach though. Try to get to the end of that movement. Try to give an extra stretch, an extra press at the end of that movement. Remember to use that adaptation, so elbow only if you need to. Use your breath. And keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Lovely. And then again, sit back in child's pose. Excellent. And then we're going to come into bridge. We've got to finish in bridges, haven't we? So take your time, come over onto your backs. So we started here and we'll finish here. Again, just settle on your back and bring your feet in towards your bottom. And relax your shoulders, press your shoulders down and then relax them. And just hands wherever is comfortable. Feet coming towards the bottom, into that pelvic tilt. So start small, really focus. Sometimes it helps to pop your hand on your belly, thumb on your belly button, into that diamond, and just into that tilt and release. Tilt and release. And then we start to squeeze the bottom as we add a little gentle lift. So just take your time, just a small lift, maybe lifting the back of the pelvis off so the ribs are still on the floor. Pulling in, now focusing as well here on the pelvic floor. So squeezing as you start lifting a little bit higher, as you lower down, one vertebrae at a time. Lower down, release pelvic floor. Pressing through the feet. Lots to think about. Imagining a kind of tightness from the pubic bone up to the belly button, up to the diaphragm. As you tense through and engage through the pelvic floor muscles, lifting and lowering, really peeling, so really pressing the spine into the floor as you squeeze the bottom, lifting up and getting a little bit higher now. Lifting, coming up to the top, big squeeze, lower down. And we're going to stay at the top here. So stay at the top and we're going to have 8 squeezes as high as you can. Press those hips up to the floor. Try and keep the knees in line. Slowly, not too fast. We're not pulsing, we're squeezing purposely. And then we lower down. Okay, have a rest for a second. Then we're going to turn the heels out, toes in. And then we go again, slowly lifting and lowering. Then you can probably come straight into a full bridge. So lower, peel, squeeze at the top. Feel the thighs pressing together as the toes are turned in. Can you get as high or not quite as high here? Lifting and lowering. Next time up, hold. 8 presses, slowly, purposely. And 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Lower down, rest for a second. Guess what? Toes out, heels in. Position your feet where you feel is most comfortable. Okay, and up we go again. Into that bridge. Lower down. This is easier, isn't it? I feel. What about if you lift your heels? Not that I want to make it harder, actually that's not too bad. What about drop your heels, lift your toes? And then this time we're going to hold up, and then 8 presses, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lower down. Hug those knees into your chest or wherever. Little roll the knees in a circle. One way and then reverse direction. And then let's just go side to side, massaging the back of the pelvis, the backs of the hips. Lovely. Lower the feet down, either come into a full body stretch or knees together, however you want. Just make yourselves comfy. 2 minutes of relaxation and you're done. So drop your hands to the side, fingers are resting, relaxed. Rest, wriggle, jiggle, so your shoulders are kind of comfortable, your upper back is resting on the floor, there's no tension there. You have evenness through the back of the pelvis. If your feet are on the floor, just allow your toes to just drop out. And just breathe. And coming into that lateral breathing. So as you breathe in, focusing that breath into the outside edges. So sending the ribs out towards the sides and the front, but particularly out to the sides. Taking your time with that breath. And just notice the temperature of the air around you that you're breathing in. Is it cool or is it warm? Do you feel warm? It's a beautiful sunny day, but actually it's quite chilly, it's quite cold. So just notice. And then notice any sounds around you. What can you hear? Can you hear people or birds or nature, or traffic, or silence? Whatever it is you can hear, enjoy it. Know that it's not bothering you, it's just carrying on, and you're in your own little space. Just taking time out for you today. Just breathing and being. And then take a couple of deep breaths in through your nose, out through your mouth. And then taking your time to roll onto your sides, pressing up to a seated position or a comfortable position. Have a little stretch if you need to. Maybe take your arms behind you. Put your hands together. Give yourself a little round of applause. I hope you're okay. I hope you feel stretched and mobile, ready to face the day and the week. So we'll be back soon. Thanks for joining us.